So Sony is apparently struggling with the PlayStation 5 price due to costly parts. The original article is from Bloomberg.com.
Good.
And they report that the manufacturing costs for Sony's next PlayStation have reached around $450 per unit.
Fantastic.
Wow. Why do you think this is fantastic?
This is great.
Why is it great? Who is it great for?
The last generation of
Enlighten me.
consoles, I don't know if you remember this part in particular, but not usually, in the past, before the last generation of consoles, so chunking back a little bit, consoles were often sold at a little bit of a loss.
Yes, that is true.
And then they would try to make up money on peripherals and whatever.
licensing. And they certainly make back plenty of the money on the peripherals, Nintendo. 90 Canadian dollars for a Pro controller is not reasonable. Carry on.
Yeah.
I mean, you need 8 of the stupid things to play Smash, okay? 8 times 9, that is $720. That's more than the cost of the console.
By a lot.
Go on.
Yeah. So with the most recent generation of consoles, this was not true.
And there are games you can't even play with the Pro controller, like Mario Party, so you have to go out and get extra Joy-Cons. So you've got a total of 12 different controllers if you want to be able to max out all your different games. Plus, you can only charge the Joy-Cons when they're actually on a Switch, so you better keep a couple extra Joy-Cons on hand just in case a couple of them aren't charged, because they actually take a while to charge.
Stonks.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
So with the most recent generation, that was not a thing.
Yes.
I believe, I'm going back on really old information that was from quite a while ago that I don't remember and I haven't recently looked up, but I believe average profit per console was around $20. Just not like insane or anything, but they went from losing money per console to making money per console. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to not make money on this one, but I think the performance jump we had to the last generation was a little bit disappointing for some people.
Really? I think that, okay.
And I'm saying that from a PC perspective.
Okay.
So from a PC perspective, not the website, but the more hardcore they go with their hardware, the better the experience the PC people are going to get.
Yeah, but the more like a PC it's going to be with respect to what's in it and how much it costs.
Whatever. Who cares?
Well, that's easy for you to say. Some people struggle to afford a $400 console, let alone a $500 console.
The current generation consoles are great, to be completely honest.
Oh, okay, so hold on a second. Are you saying that you don't see this as much of a problem because using a last generation console like a PlayStation 4 is going to be a far more viable option for much longer?
Probably.
Okay, that's an interesting take on it.
Current gen consoles can do a lot.
And they've talked a lot about the intercompatibility of the hardware and therefore the games. Interesting.
So you should still be able to be fine, and they will probably drop in price, so you might be more fine.
So tell me this. Would you expect to see Sony or Microsoft, either of them, employ a strategy where they launch an exclusive game to their new generation of consoles and then follow it up 3 or 6 months later with a version that is backported for their last generation consoles with less graphical fidelity and that runs at a lower resolution?
I could see that.
Would you be floored to see that?
No, I would not be floored to see that. I would not be too surprised. I would be maybe a little bit surprised from Microsoft. Microsoft has had some bad splashes and some good splashes lately. I think their gaming side of things has been pretty positive with the community. They've done some cool things. They've brought games to multiple platforms. I think their Game Pass is going quite well, all this kind of stuff. I think they're going to try to hold on to that positive communication, at least within that segment of their company.
But I think they could keep that pretty positive. They could say, like, look.
It's coming.
It's a PlayStation 5 game, or it's an Xbox Series X game, and it needs more development to optimize it for the older hardware.
I don't think that would go over too poorly as long as it was coming eventually.
Yeah.
Like if they set a date, they're like 6 months, whatever.
And we're working on it.
And even then, that doesn't seem, I don't think that would go over too poorly because to me, there's such a huge backlog of amazing games.
So I'm going to pitch something to you. So you're imagining then more of like a rolling upgrade.
Well, because, and I want to throw one more point in here for this. they are a lot more like computers. So I could literally see it just being where the previous gen are just cheaper computers.
I mean,
Because literally right now, they're pretty darn close.
there's a limit to how cheap you can make a computer. So don't expect them to ever don't expect a PlayStation 4 to ever be $199. Like, it's just, it has to have a power supply. It's kind of like how hard drives can never get below $40. You have to have the housing and a motor.
Yeah.
And like there's just bare components that you need. You can't do a $50 PlayStation 4. It's not feasible. Just the plastics and the screws and the labor involved in assembling it. Like there's just
it might
all these
get
things.
pretty low, and you might get really cost beneficial bundles and things like that.
Yes, you might get software thrown in, for example. But that's really interesting. So if we were to see, okay, look, we've got these new generation consoles, but we're going to have games that are available concurrently. I mean, we've seen that before.
Oh, yeah.
Zelda Twilight Princess was available for both the Wii and the GameCube, for example.
Breath of the Wild was on Wii U.
Breath of the Wild was on Wii U and
It's fairly
Switch.
standard for it to happen at the beginning of a new console's life cycle.
But are you just expecting a longer rollover?
I think so. Yeah. I have no idea how long. I have no idea if this is going to be a thing, but I suspect a longer rollover.
People are saying PS4 has been $199, but okay, yes, US dollars. Sorry, I was thinking with my Canadian brain for a second right there. And also, that's not particularly sustainable. Just because it's a promo price doesn't mean that...
Could be a sale, something like that.
Yeah. Because remember too, guys, that hardware has also been around for...
Quite a while.
7 years now?
So,
6?
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, my point was just that there is a limit to how low you can go. So anyway, the biggest problems apparently... Oh, go ahead.
It was the end of 2013, but it was technically 2013.
Okay.
So
The biggest problems are apparently DRAM and NAND, both of which are in high demand from the smartphone market, and their ramp up to 5th gen devices. From smartphone ramp up to 5th gen, okay, I don't know what 5th gen devices is talking about, but it is expected that both DRAM and NAND are going to go up in price this year. Sony's CFO touched on this in an earnings briefing earlier this month, saying we must keep PlayStation 5's bill of materials under our control. I don't know how they expect to control that. Oh, I need to take this. This is the technician for the UPS that lit on fire in the server room.
Oh.
Do you want to go through the publisher's pullout of NVIDIA GeForce now while I go let them in? Hi.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to just finish off the current one that we're on. They did say that they need to keep the PlayStation 5's bill of materials under our control. I think he just said that. But he also stated that the coronavirus, while it has not yet impacted the PS5's production, definitely could, and the company has yet to decide how many PS5s they are actually going to produce in the first year, which could affect their costs, because buy more materials, you get it cheaper.